I've had the SketchUp extension installed for years, but I didn't fully understand the power of this tool until I started digging into it. In this video, I'm going to show you why every SketchUp user should be using Soap, Skin, and Bubble. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, and so remember, Soap, Skin, and Bubble is an extension you can download from the SketchUp extension warehouse for free. So if you go into the extension warehouse, just search for Soap, Skin, and you can hit the enter key, and then it's Soap, Skin, and Bubble right here, and you can download and install it. It's not marked as being compatible with SketchUp 2026, but it's working fine for me in SketchUp 2026. And so once you activate the Soap, Skin, and Bubble toolbar, it's going to look something like this. The way Soap, Skin, and Bubble works is it starts by generating a soap skin. And we'll talk about this message that it gives you in a second. But if I click on OK, what it does is it comes in here and it generates a skin based on the closed shape that I have selected. You notice how you may need to go back to the select tool either by clicking on select or hitting the space key. But if I double click into the shape, notice that it's created a grid across this surface. Now, for this shape, it's not that big of a deal, but this is not where this extension ends. In fact, it gets way more powerful. So not only will this work on simple shapes like this one, it'll also work on other shapes like this. So if I activate Soap, Skin, and Bubble, it's going to generate a skin in here. Now, notice in the lower left-hand corner, it tells us that we can input numbers of net division. Basically, what that means is that if you type in a value like 20 or 30, it's going to adjust the number of divisions that are in here, which gives you a more precise face that follows along with this object, like this. So not only does this work with simple shapes, it works with more complex shapes like this one. So again, notice how it's going to take a grid and it's going to apply it to the surface just like this. And then you can adjust the number of divisions and hit the enter key. Well, with these surfaces generated with Soap, Skin, and Bubble, not only can you generate a flat surface, which you could technically do using something like sandbox tools, you can also use these other options in here to apply pressure to this object. So in this case, if I clicked on this third option, generate soap bubble, it's going to ask me to enter a pressure. So if I type in a value of 20, notice what it's going to do is it's going to apply pressure to this object, and it's going to move this object inward or outward. So I could also type in a value of -20 and apply the pressure the other direction, like this. But more pressure is going to equal a stronger result. So if I type in -50, notice how it's going to go up like this. Now, the thing with this extension you have to be careful with, though, is if you go too big, so if I typed in -300, notice how the whole thing's going to kind of like blow up on you, like this. Right, so you don't want to go too heavy on the soap bubble like this, but you can kind of play around with it. Worst case, you can just rerun it. And so you can always just run it again, like so. We'll hit the enter key, we'll run this, -20, and we're good to go. And so where this gets really powerful, though, is not when you're using it on flat shapes like this. Where this gets really powerful is if you have a closed-in shape. So a shape that is completely closed in, right? No gaps or anything like that. It's just a frame. If you select this frame and then run Soap, Skin, and Bubble, it's going to, again, split this up, but it's going to generate a surface that once you're done creating your division in here, so whatever that is, maybe 20, we'll hit the enter key. What it's going to do is it's then going to take that surface and it's going to stretch it across this frame right here. That is extremely, extremely valuable because not only can this be used to create like tensile structures, it can also be used to fill holes in your SketchUp model. So if you have gaps on a 3D space, this is really good for patching those gaps and those holes. Now, one other thing to note about this real quick is notice how in addition to being able to adjust your pressure, so I can type in a value of like -20 again, or +20, and it'll go the other direction. Notice how there's also a second option in here, which is the edit soap skin ratio. That's going to affect how strong the tensile pull around the outside is. So if I take this, activate this, and we're going to set our stress ratio to something smaller, like 0.5. Notice how then this isn't pulled as tight in here, and so it lets this move a little bit further. So by adjusting that stress ratio, you can affect how strongly the pressure is going to affect your object. Now, notice right here, if you bring that ratio up too high, you're going to get this kind of crazy result, right? So if I bring this back down, notice how now the whole thing's kind of like gone away. So usually if you ever have something like this happen, we're just going to undo it, and then we'll just try again. right? So we'll just select this again and say we took our ratio to 3, that's going to be fine, and then we could adjust the pressure in here. Now, I don't really use these other options, the restart form finding, the stop animation. I've not even used the help. I just use these first 3 options. Where this gets really, really powerful is we use this a lot in landscape modeling, because what it does is it allows you to set the flat location or profile of an object and then a vertical across something like a wall. Well, then I can run soapskin and I can bump my number of divisions in here. And what that's going to do is that's going to generate something as if it was a pile of dirt here on the model, right? Another cool use that I've seen for this is you can also use it to patch holes like these on this object in order to create something that looks worn. And so in this case, we want to make sure that we're just picking up these edges without these extra edges up here, right? This all needs to be in a closed loop. But now if I put this in here, this is going to generate a surface that goes along this face. So all you have to do is just use the freehand tool in order to draw along the surface like this. In order to cut some of that material out, we'll erase out this extra, but then we'll do the same thing over here like this. You want to make sure that we draw this in so that this hits the corner right here, but that if I erase out this edge and select this, it's going to generate a surface. And notice how I keep picking up that little edge on the top. You got to make sure you don't have any stray edges in your selection when you do this, but this will come through here and this will generate a surface like this, which would allow you to create this worn looking column in SketchUp. And so this is also valuable for things like tensile structures. And so a tensile structure is basically a structure that has supports around the outside like this, that then has a surface that runs across them. So if I select all of these like so and activate this, notice how it's going to generate basically this tensile structure along this surface. And so one easy way to do this, by the way, is if you just take a square or a rectangle and you extrude it up, then you can just draw arcs across the surface and you can just erase out the extra geometry in here once you've done that. And now you've got this frame in here that you can use in order to generate your surface like this. Whoops. And we want to make sure that we've just picked up these 4 edges in order to generate this. Now, one thing that's cool about this is you don't even have to have the curved edges in here. Like you can literally draw lines from each one of these corners right here. So I've just got 4 straight lines that I've drawn across these supports like this, and it's going to generate a surface that curves along that face. So notice how if these are straight, then you get a different result in here than if these are curved. Neither one of them is the right or wrong way to do it. It's just another way to do that. And again, that's going to work on more complex shapes too. Like this one, for example, has 6 edges in it instead of 4, right? It's not just a rectangular shape. Well, this will still come in here because this is in a closed loop and it'll allow us to generate a surface across the top of it. And a lot of the time I like to go with the highest number of divisions in here just to get the most detail in my object. Now, if this gets really huge, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but for something smaller like this, this ought to work just fine. But again, notice how we can come in here and we can adjust our soap bubble pressure. So like notice if I type in a value of 20 or 10, it's a completely different shape than if I type the pressure in as 0 like this. So again, these are very editable and adjustable from that standpoint. You can use this in order to really kind of customize your shapes. Now, that being said, that's not really where I use this, though a great application for this is creating things like tufted furniture. So what you can do here is say that you drew a rectangle like this, or probably a square is more what we want. But then if you drew a circle on the end, and I'm just going to take this circle and use the move tool in copy mode to copy it across like this. And then we'll just do it again over here. And then we can just erase out our edges. But then we can also draw a couple arcs in here like this, right? And I'll just make them the same height as the arcs over here. But what you can do is you can use this in order to create the frame for the tufts in here. So I'm going to copy this over so that it's out of the way. I'm going to rotate it. And then I'm going to move it back. Use the move tool in copy mode to copy this over as a part of our frame. We'll select it. And it looks like I missed the corner on that by a little bit. So we'll make sure these actually align. But you can use this in order to generate the frame over the top. Looks like I've got a gap in here somewhere. Oh. Looks like it's going to be this one right here. But then now if we select this frame, activate the tool, it'll generate this shape, but we want it to be kind of tufted outward, so we're going to up the pressure. And sometimes on tighter frames like this one, you can do higher pressures. Like this one, for example, I can go up to like 300 and it's going to work just fine. And that's something you just kind of need to play around with. But then we can use the move tool in copy mode in order to create a copy here. And we'll just repeat this like this. And what you end up with is this kind of like tufted look that's in here. So you can use this for complex things like furniture, but where I use this the most is patching holes. So in this case, we're going to use a road on a surface as an example, right? And so one of my issues with creating roads in SketchUp right now is the sandbox tools don't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, they do. The sandbox tools do what they're supposed to do, but the problem is if you use the stamp function in order to try to generate a road, right? So if I stamp this on the surface right here, the problem is this road is completely flat, right? Well, the issue with roads is they're not flat, they need to slope. So one of the things that I do, and I use soap, skin, and bubble for this, is I will take this surface and I will drape it on this object. So I'll take these three shapes, I'll use the drape function and I'll drape them on the surface. Well, what that does is that gives me the ability in here in order to get rid of the surface like so. And I actually get rid of all of it because what I want to do is I want to bring my road profile in here and I want to make it slope. So I use another extension for this too, but I want this profile to slope up a little bit. So there's an extension from Fredo 6 called Shear that's contained inside of the Fredo Tools toolbar. And so what Shear does is it allows you to select edges. So you don't want to face in here. You can select these edges. And usually it's a good idea to weld these edges first. But then you can take all of these, you can use shear on them, and you can shear them up like this. And then you can generate a surface. So for this object, for example, if I wanted to generate a surface, I could use soap, skin, and bubble in order to do that, right? So I could come in here and I could generate a surface across my road like this and hit the enter key, and that's generated kind of a road surface. Now, typically for this kind of thing, I prefer using an extension from Fredo 6 called Curveloft because it'll create a much more predictable result, right? So Curveloft allows me to select these two edges and it'll generate something that actually kind of like fits with the geometry in here. But where soap, skin, and bubble gets really valuable is once you do that, you need to patch in these gaps, right, on the outside. And so doing that by hand could be really tricky, right? So if I need to come in here and I need to patch these gaps, that's not going to work super well for me unless I use soap, skin, and bubble. So I'm going to take these two edges. I'm going to copy them and I'm going to double click into my sandbox tools terrain and I'm going to do a paste in place. Right, so now I have those edges in here, or I should. Let's see if we hide this, if they show up any better. So now I've got these edges in here. Well, what I'll do is I'll draw a line across on my terrain in order to create a closed-in loop. And a lot of the time what I'll do for this is I'll use a tool built into Profile Builder called the Smart Path Select tool. It just allows me to quickly select all of these edges. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this entire frame like this, hit the enter key. So now I have it selected. Well, remember, we have soap, skin, and bubble installed. So we have a closed frame. I can use this in order to generate a surface like so. So I can use it in order to fill in gaps along the edges right here. So that's something that's extremely valuable for me because there's really not another tool that works in this way for generating surfaces. Like you might be able to use some of Curveloft tools in order to do something kind of similar, but Soap, Skin, and Bubble works a lot better for this kind of thing for the most part. So any kind of like patching I have to do on complex surfaces, I go straight to Soap, Skin, and Bubble because it works so well. Then once I'm done, we need to make sure we've picked up all the edges right here. Then we've got this surface that we've kind of patched in here. And one thing I'll usually do is I will triple click into this object, or I'll click into this object and then I'll triple click and I'll right click and I'll reverse the faces like so. But that allows me to patch in gaps. So I actually have like this sloping road in here as opposed to a completely flat one, and Soap Skin allows me to generate those surfaces. Now, the other thing you could do is you could also draw walls on the sides of this road and then have this kind of like run into those walls too. But again, anytime you have a gap, I'm using Soap Skin and Bubble in order to generate those edges. And then finally, you might have seen we had that error come up or that message that says tool time limit. But when that tool time limit comes up, that's an interesting thing about Soap, Skin, and Bubble in general is you'll get a message that pops up that says tool time limit finished, and then the tool will stop working. So for whatever reason, the developer has set this up where it expires and he just has to like reset the timer on it. So anytime you get the tool time limit finished message that pops up, all you need to do is just uninstall the extension, go back to the extension warehouse, and then reinstall it in order to restart that clock, and it'll keep working. It's been like this for years. So if you ever get that error, you need to uninstall it and reinstall the newest version, and everything should be working fine. All right, so I absolutely love this tool for a lot of things, but I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are you using Soap, Skin, and Bubble for? If you do want to learn more about how to use this tool, we use it a lot inside of the Landscape Essentials portion of the SketchUp Essentials course because it's so vital for landscape design. So I will link to the course on this page. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.